you guys? Hope you're having a good day. Today I want to talk to you about calories per hour while running. A lot of people ask us how many calories should they consume during runs or during races or whatever, and that is a good question. Let's break it down because not all situations of running are going to be the same amount of calories per hour. There are so many variables that go on here. You might not even know what calories per hour means, and basically it means how many calories should you be consuming during an hour period of running, during a race, long training run, during your daily runs, during whatever you're doing being physical. A lot of those calories are usually consumed in the form of either like gels, a nutrition bar, or even liquid calories. So I'm going to cover some of those topics. The three different types of categories and situations I want to talk to you guys about today are how many calories per hour during a race, which is really where you're going to be wanting to get the most performance out of everything. I think is probably during a race. Maybe it's different for you, but who knows. The next one is during a long run or an adventure, an all-day adventure. And then the final is during your daily runs. So let's start by talking about the race day calories per hour. This is definitely where I want to be at my best. I don't know about you guys, but this is my time to see what I'm made of. So I really want to be as perfect as possible as I can be with how many calories per hour I'm consuming. And the baseline for runners in general is 300 calories per hour. But saying that, you guys, you really need to experiment because that does not hold true for everyone, and it definitely doesn't for me. For Gwen, he actually is able to stick pretty close to that 300 calories per hour baseline, but it is just a baseline. And for me, I have to adjust it quite a bit depending on so many things, like the heat, how hydrated I am, how much climbing there is, the intensity of the race, the longevity of the race, how long, how short. So all of those things play a big role in how many calories per hour I consume. But maybe let's just look at a distance like the 50K. About a year ago today, roughly, I ran a really awesome 50K where I competed at one of my best, and I was doing about 200 to 250 calories per hour. Why I came down to that number was just because I found that when I would stick to more like 300 calories per hour, I just have a harder time digesting all of that, and I just didn't want to eat anymore. And I found that out through all my training runs. So you guys should definitely do tests of your race day nutrition, and I can talk about that a little bit more in the next section, which is going to be the long run. So how I came to that conclusion of about 250 calories per hour was I tested it out, and I just found that that really worked for me at that heart rate, at that intensity, because my heart rate was at about 165 for the first few hours of the race, and then the last maybe 2 hours of the race it went up from there, and I just found it harder and harder to even keep anything down. But you need the calories, you need those simple carbohydrates in your body coming in pretty regularly to be able to race at your best at a really high intensity. So it was definitely necessary. Yes, you do burn your own fat, your own body fat, but when you're at high intensities, it's very hard to do so. If I was running a slower 100 miler, which I also did last year, it could be a lot more manageable to not consume that much if you don't feel like it. You can even go hours on end at a lower intensity without consuming any calories. People do that all the time. I did that for probably about a 3-hour section of my race last year. I probably consumed way too many calories in the beginning and got a lot of stomach issues and stopped eating totally, I think, for about 2 hours. Just drank water, and it actually settled my stomach, and I was able to work through all of that, and then I was able to work back into a rhythm. Okay, so now talking about what type of calories. I have a hard time stomaching anything, and I don't want to drink, so I found that doing my banana date water and even rice milk was a really good, amazing way to do liquid calories and get them in as you're running. So when I'm running a 50K, I want easy calories. I don't want to chew anything. I want to perform at my best. I'm super into it. I'm like ready to go, and my heart rate's high. I don't I don't want to slow down for anything and chew. 100 miler, that's a different story. 50 miler, I will slow down and take a minute and eat something real. So for those short races, I think it's really important to experiment with liquid calories, with gels, with the banana date water and stuff like that. So last year during my 50K, this situation I'm talking about, where I was consuming about 250 calories per hour, it was all from banana date water. And then at the end of the race, I actually ran out of my banana date water purposely, because at one point, like, I just got sick of it and I said, that's enough, I just want to do water and gels. So I would squeeze in a gel from the aid station into my water bottle and shake that up. Usually the gels are about 100 calories, so I would do 1 or 2 of those every 25 minutes-ish, 30 minutes, and it worked out to about 250 calories an hour. So that's an option too, squeezing gels in to get really liquid calories on the go during a race. But try that out. Like I said, you guys, Gwen can eat more calories on the run than I can, and he does burn them a little bit easier at a higher intensity than I do. Some people might even need more than 300 calories per hour, so you gotta test it out. Okay, so for my 100-mile race, I was consuming, I think, a little bit less, about 200 calories per hour, and that's just because I struggled consuming anything, and I really had to force gels down after that point where I figured out my stomach situation, and it was just like clockwork. Every 30 minutes I would take a gel, and that was it. That was all I wanted, that's all I needed. My heart rate was lower, I was burning fat, I was fine, and it worked out great. Okay, hope that helped for you guys. The next situation is the long run. I actually prefer, at this point in my life right now, training with no calories or very minimal calories per hour during the long run. But I think it is really helpful as you're making this transition into longer and longer long runs to use calories as you would during a race, to figure out how they sit with you, what you want to do, how far you can go without calories, all of this type of thing. And I did that for the first 2 years. And now I feel really confident going out for a 20-mile run without any calories at all. Now I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, that feels good. So now I'm gonna start putting the calories back in to simulate the next race situation or the next situation that I want to experiment with. In the beginning though, I could not do this. And I think it is necessary to be consuming, you know, kind of close to race day nutrition, around that 300 calorie per hour mark during the long run, until you figure that out. So in the beginning, I was doing things like banana and dates during long runs, I was doing bars, and on long adventures, I definitely take food. When Gwen and I are out all day, we pack bars, homemade bars, we pack Scout bars, we eat Scout bars all the time. We will eat a little bit more casually on our long adventures because it's not such a bother if we have to stop for a while, and we do often stop for a while and eat and actually like chew some food, enjoy the view, because we're out for like 6, 7, 8 hours, and that's totally fine. And I don't even know how many calories per hour I eat because it doesn't matter. We're going at such an easy, comfortable pace with so many of our friends that I like just naturally figure that out. Yeah, that's what I would suggest for you for those long runs. And then as you tweak your long runs and you get more specific and more refined and more comfortable doing your long run, you can definitely go a few long runs with very minimal nutrition, and then, like I said, mimicking race day nutrition, which I absolutely love to do. That's when you find out when things are going really good and when things are horrible. Gwen right now is experimenting with his race day nutrition for his 100-miler, so whenever we do those long 20, 30, 40-mile training runs and all of his fire gear, he's trying to figure out what types of foods he wants with all of that gear on, because it's different. It makes your body act in a different way. Try to figure out all of these things and all these variables in the type of condition that you're going to be racing in. Of course, that's not always even practical, because you could be traveling to a race and it's like really hot where you're going, or you could be traveling to a bunch of mountains and you live, you know, in a flat area. So try to mimic that and figure out what works for you, and I think you'll have some success. All right, the last situation is during daily runs. So when I first started running, I could not run on an empty stomach. I could not. I love running in the morning. We'll just put that out there. And I think that that's a really great way to start the day. That's my personal preference. And I remember it was really hard to get going on a run without just feeling so hungry and feeling like I needed to eat. So what I did in the beginning was I would eat a banana or two. Then slowly I weaned myself down to a half a banana over the course of a few weeks, and then off the banana. And then I was actually training my body to burn fat as fuel during my daily runs. And my daily runs were anywhere from like 3 to 10 miles. I got to the point where now I can do my daily runs now without calories, and I'm going easy at a heart rate, easy always, like 150. You know, whatever your easy is, very comfortable, conversational pace. And I definitely suggest you guys get to that point if you want to get into ultra running, if you want to do long distance stuff. Everything that I'm talking about is geared towards ultra running, longer distance, 50K and above, because that's what I do, you know, that's what I know best. So if you have another goal, probably shouldn't be listening to me, and that's totally cool too. The reason you would want to like run in the morning without eating anything, it's called like a fasted run, is you really do train your body to burn fat efficiently as fuel. And that is so important in ultra running, and it's a perfect way to do it. And also, I just feel better. I have more energy. It kind of seems bizarre, but you really do, because you're not digesting the food and turning it into energy. You have more energy if you can get into this state. And then you're able to go longer and longer and use fat as fuel, and it's a really great place to be in. So yep, I definitely suggest you guys work in that direction. It will make you race better in the long term, and it will make you just a better utilizer of your fat as energy, which is a great place to be in, because then if you're out on the road and you don't have time to eat a meal and there's nothing healthy around, you can skip it and you're gonna survive. You're not gonna go into some sort of panic mode. Okay, you guys, I really hope all of this information helped. It's quite a bit to talk about. The last thing, I just want to say it again. There's so many variables. There's a lot of variables I didn't even touch on, like heat and hydration and elevation. There's just so many, there's too many variables to talk about in one video. So maybe I'll talk a little bit more on a more specific one. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Keep the questions coming. I love the interactions. It's really helpful for me to read through the comments of all of these videos and just see what you guys are coming up with and what I can help answer from my point of view. Oh yeah, and if you did not check out the videos of my liquid calories, the race day hydration with the rice milk and the banana date water, I'll link them right here, because you're definitely going to want to check those out. I think they're really helpful. So that's it, you guys. Stay healthy, eat lots of yummy plant foods, get out there, enjoy running, and I'll see you tomorrow.